Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Skoda. In fact, some people call me G.I. Joe, and I'm very active. And you can find G.I. Joe Marketer on the website or Joseph Skoda or in the office with and such and such. But the point is, I've traveled the world and I meet some interesting people. Here I am. I'm retired Air Force, did my 21 years, aim high, as they say. My son's following in my footsteps. I've obviously traveled the world and had some great experiences. Right now, I find myself in Chicago, the Windy City, they call it,
Yes.
in Chicago at a Toastmasters International Convention, a place where leaders are made, something I never heard of when I had a real job in the military. But I'm fortunate today to meet with Missy Moore over here, who is from my hometown, Youngstown, Ohio. Go Bucks!
Woohoo, go Bucks.
Go Bucks! But what interests me with Missy, besides the fact that we're both in leadership and Toastmasters now, is this young lady here is in the Navy. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to the Navy and leadership.
I was in Toastmasters for about 5 years before I went to the Navy.
Oh,
And I kind of hit a little bit of a glass ceiling at my employers. And I decided to try something different. So I went to the Navy. And ironically, while I was in the Navy, going through boot camp and then went to A school, and I was diligently working on my homework, like high school.
high school.
One of the officers came walking by, and apparently word got out that I was a Toastmaster.
Okay.
And this officer went from being this big, intimidating figure, and he was like, "Are you the one in Toastmasters?" And I looked up, very intimidated and still a little shy.
Of course.
I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And then he went from standing posture to be like, "Oh my gosh, tell me about your icebreaker. I have my pocket speech and everything." And so it was so exciting and entertaining to see somebody at such a high level become at the same level as me, because we had that commonality of Toastmasters. And then he shared how it helped him grow in the leadership in the military. And as I continued in my Toastmaster journey,
Yes.
I have found that it has actually helped me in the military, in my military career. I have now, as Club Growth Director,
Yes.
leadership, I have a club in the Youngstown area,
Ohio. Yes.
in the Air Force Base, that is actually very interested in making a Toastmasters club. And I love the irony of it, because I know how to speak military-ese or whatever,
That's
right?
an advantage. That's
Right.
even Navy, but
Right,
it's an
yeah.
advantage.
But I understand the differentiations between civilian needs and military needs.
Sure.
And I'm able to adjust how I present the information to the chain of command, the decision maker, as we learned here.
Right.
And I actually look forward to that club chartering in, we'll say, December, January timeframe.
That is really awesome. Now, you're a Toastmaster before you joined the military?
I was.
And it's helped you in the military?
It has.
Do you think it would help others or would help most people?
Absolutely. It's helped me with my confidence. I have been finding myself placed in more leadership roles,
Sure.
not only in Toastmasters, but also in the military. They see that I have communication skills. They see that I'm not afraid to step up and take a challenge.
Sure.
And so then in the military, you get voluntold.
You get voluntold.
They say, "Hey, you do a great job of that. Here's your new task."
It's true. And what I've noticed in the military, of course, we all want to get promoted to the next level. Then you're a different supervisory or manager, and you're automatically expected to know how to lead. And sure, we have our different leadership schools in the military, but they're short-term, they're short-lived, and in most cases, we really don't have a mentor to help us up the ranks. And I think Toastmasters helps out with that.
Toastmasters does. And actually, in the past, I'll say 5 years, or at least
Yeah,
in the Navy,
yeah,
maybe it might be because of who I'm attached to.
sure.
I'm with a regiment, so we
Okay.
have a lot of higher ranking people where I'm tripping over officers all day long. And I'm not like a little peon in the military.
Right.
I'm an E6. So
All right.
so
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
I've got my stripes there.
There you go.
But in regiment, we actually do have a mentoring program.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So they're not as warm and fuzzy as we are.
Right, right. Come a long way.
Yes, yes, but they actually do. So I have a chief that has mentored me and
Hmm.
yelled at me.
That's part of mentoring.
Yeah, that's part of mentoring. But he's yelled at me and has coached me along the way. And they because they see something in me
In
that
you.
they can shape and mold. And that's pretty much like what mentoring is.
Yes.
And we do the same thing in Toastmasters. We shape and mold. We see something shining in a person and we say, man, let me get my hands on that person and I can guide them in the right
Guide 'em.
direction. And then we just keep reinvigorating the
Right.
person and promoting them and saying, you can do a great job. How about being an RA? Or how about
Sure, I'm
yeah,
right
yeah.
there. I'm right there. I think one of the things I like about our organization is that the environment kind of design. It's safe environment. It's designed for us to fail so we can grow and learn.
Yeah.
And if we're speaking or if we're learning how to time or do a grammarian or more importantly, even evaluate someone, there's nothing personal.
Right.
We're all learning, we're all growing, we're expected to make mistakes. And when you're all done, well, what do they do? Good job, good job.
Yes, I
So it's
love that.
constant motivation. And that's something we don't get from a lot of our mentors. And we do have people say, yeah, let me mentor you to the next level. Let me help you along this process. And if we're lucky, we can find someone like that. But it's usually just a coach. We'll find a coach to say, yeah, I'll help you get through this evaluation process, or I'll help you learn this new system, or I'll da 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 da. But it's usually short lived. And in a mentorship program, and the military is a little harder. I mean, reservists, you're with the same people usually most of your career. But for me, every 2 or 3 years, I was going to a new base somewhere in the world.
Mhm.
I've never worked with the same people ever again.
Yeah.
There's always a new experience. So finding that mentor was difficult. I have found a few in my career, thankfully, but I didn't know how to be one. So how does Toastmasters help you learn how to be a
A
mentor?
mentor. Doing trainings like
Yeah,
what we have here,
yeah,
hearing other people's inputs and what they see as a mentor. As a training we had yesterday, they said the mentor is somebody who gently guides you.
gently guide you.
Yes, gently guides you. And a coach pushes you a little bit more and encouraging. They're still both encouraging.
Sure.
However, one is more like your buddy,
Yeah, yeah.
and the other one's like, get this done. This is your goal.
Time is money.
Right. We're going to make this happen.
That's true. I've noticed. I used to do a lot of speeches on coaching and mentoring, and I tell a lot of people. Usually, we hire a coach. We'll hire a coach. It could be $50, it could be thousands of dollars to help us through a process. And even in Toastmasters, we have coaching for speeches. But a mentor, often you're running after them to help you out. And I use the Daniel-san, Mr. Miyagi, the wax on,
Yes.
wax off, paint the fence, however that goes.
Yes, the paint the fence.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And I always ask the question, was Mr. Miyagi a coach or a mentor? And what I've learned is you start off as a coach, or that's what
Yes.
Daniel's son wanted. Just teach me how to kick some butt.
Yes.
Teach me the moves that you know, and that's all he wanted.
Yes.
But Mr. Miyagi wasn't having any of that. He wanted if you wanted his help, he wanted skin in the game.
Right.
Skin in the game. So I appreciate what you're telling all of us about leadership, about Toastmasters, how it can help many other military in their career. So what's the next step to you? Obviously, you're the top 3 of your district as club growth director.
Yes.
So the sky's the limit, or is your journey just beginning?
I I think both. I think my journey's just beginning.
Yeah.
I am already getting legs underneath me. I have 4 people, subcommittees or committees underneath
Okay.
me,
Okay. Ooh.
and I provided them with folders and information and pamphlets. And I was like, I set out the expectations. So right now,
Yes.
I'm being the coach to them.
Nice.
But I'm letting them know I will be here to be your mentor along the way, because in every one of those 4 individuals, I see very potential leadership and high leadership. I'm talking district level. And that is my goal. So this is one of the things that at regiment level
Okay.
is, while I strive to go up
Mm-hmm.
in the ranks, one of the things they drive home at regiment is don't forget to reach back and bring you up. Because if I can't have you take my place, I can't move up. And the same thing needs to be done here. If I don't teach you and bring you to where I'm at so that I can say, I know you got this. I gave you all the tools. I gave you the coaching and I gave you the mentoring. And then I move up and I let you know I am still here. Then how can I advance? Because now I've made myself irreplaceable.
You mean something irreplaceable? You
Which
left a
is
vacancy.
where that's not where you want to be. You want to be needed, but you don't want to stagnate your own growth and development by not teaching and bringing up the other ones.
Because too many of us, we step on each other, we'll climb a ladder, we'll kick you out, thanks but no thanks. We won't tell you our secret handshake.
Right.
While we're trying to move up the ranks.
I know.
Because we're afraid of competition or we're afraid of others bringing us down, because that's reality sometimes.
Right.
So I'm glad you're taught that, and that's important in life. And regardless of what we do in life, is to always be mentoring, coaching, training someone to take your place.
Yeah.
Take your place. And so what? Maybe you're co-doing something for a while, but you're still learning from one another, and you can only get better.
Absolutely.
You can only get better. And people, leaders, bosses, companies recognize people who are mentoring, coaching, because that's leading.
Yes.
That's leading. That's up there. That's huge. A lot of people are afraid to step forward. We're afraid of failing.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to fail.
No, don't be afraid to fail. That's how you learn.
That's how you learn. And I love that. You coach the person who you say, hey, I'm here. I'll mentor you. I'm not going too far. I might have a different office, but I know what you're doing. I'll help you.
Yeah.
So we can both get better.
One of my things that I like to always remind myself is that I just went blank. Yeah.
That happens. Let me tell you about it. We're doing table topics right now.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Here we are, like we talked about earlier, in Chicago, out here, suit and ties. And, but even when this comes off,
nice,
thank you, look pretty good too.
Thank you.
I did not really have the confidence today when I was active duty, when I was still in the military, when I had my first job out of the military. Sure, I went up the ladder, have a couple degrees, I learned a few things on how to supervise and manage, but that was in a circle that I was familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But when I had to go outside of that circle and do something different I'm not used to doing, I was lost. I was scared. I was shy. I still am shy.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, not you.
I am. I'm so much an introvert you cannot imagine. But I forced myself to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't do that before. Now I can force myself and be confident doing so. And even if I come across the fool, Most people don't know. Well, some do know, but
Um,
but I'm confident, and I'm going to get up the next day and do it again
right.
and tweak what I did and try not to make the same
Yeah, the
mistakes.
world doesn't end when you make a mistake. You
Thank you.
just you take the lessons learned and you move forward. So I
Yeah,
remember what I was going to say.
absolutely.
This is what I try to remind myself
Okay.
is that my legacy or
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
or who I am as a person
Yeah.
is not what I say to you. It is what you and them, what they all say
Feedback.
about me.
Wow.
So we have a thing in the military
Hmm.
where we we talk and we pick on each other to our face, right?
Sure.
Yeah, like
Of course.
Jackson,
Of
right?
course.
But we all, if you are a good military person, if you're a good, solid leader,
Hmm.
we talk bad to your face, pick
Yes.
on you
Right.
because we love you.
Because we love you.
That's it.
It is.
That's the love, right? But we defend and say that will be the best master chief or best first class petty officer because they will follow up with you, because they will take the time with you, and we talk good behind your back. And so that should be everywhere, because if I leave here and you go back and you go,
Yeah.
I met this wonderful lady, Missy,
Absolutely.
and then you share my story and you talk about me, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to be boastful about myself
You don't.
because you're doing it for me.
Absolutely.
And then that has more validity, that carries more weight than me just saying, I'm a great person.
Oh, I know.
Have you ever met those people that they're like, oh, I'm so great?
Oh, too often in
And
my
then,
life. Too
but
often
then
in
you
my life.
hear other people, they go, they're a terrible supervisor, or they're a
Hmm.
terrible manager, or they micromanage.
Sure.
That's what's true. That's what's the truth about that person, is what everybody else is saying about that person.
Darn. You know, that's a good point you just brought up because I didn't think I was doing so much, especially in Toastmaster leadership, until someone come to me and say, "Can you help me?
Yeah.
Will you help me? I like what you did there. You inspired me." And to me, that was big because I was okay. I went through the chain. I did a dozen or so speeches, and more than
Yeah.
that. I felt good about myself, but what was I doing? Did I really make a difference?
Yeah.
But when that first person comes to you and tugs on your shoulder and say, "Have coffee with me. I want to talk to you."
Yeah. You have no idea the impact that you
Hmm.
make. So wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, be the best at it.
Be the best at it.
Or at least own. If you make an error, own it and say, yeah, I made an error. I'm human.
Yeah.
And let's learn from it. And people watch. So when I was getting ready to deploy, and I'm a very tall, statuesque woman. You can't tell in this, but I'm almost 6
She's
foot.
easy to find in the crowd.
I am. I am. So I was moving forward to Iraq, but I was originally on this, which I actually think I would have enjoyed too. But I was supposed to be going on this one group where we were going to be doing convoys and kicking in doors and busting.
You can do that.
I was like, man, I'm so built for that. That's what I'm built for. Like, look, I got muscles right here.
Exactly.
But the military wanted me to go to Iraq and not Kandahar.
Sure.
So it was 7 years later. So it was actually just this past March. Okay. That the female, because we have to travel in twos.
Sure.
So,
that's of course.
right. So the female they found to replace me, I had no idea who she was. I was walking around carrying myself, doing my thing.
Yes.
She told me, she was like, I was the one who was taking your place. And she said, and I saw you and just saw this tall, statuesque woman who I knew could kick in doors and take names and not take any problems from anybody. And she said, I have to live up to that. And she goes, I'm replacing that. I had no idea that somebody else was watching my every move and saying, this is who I'm replacing. I need to push harder, be better, because I want to make sure that this person knows that I did a good job of replacing her. I found that out just this past March, and I was absolutely amazed because I had no idea that anybody was watching that, because she saw me work out and I always push harder for my physical assessments, and she was just like, oh my gosh, they're like, why do they want, she was saying, why do they want me? And they were like, because she's a civil engineering aide. I'm like a unicorn. I'm like a unicorn in the Navy. There's not that many.
Not too many.
So there was the need where they needed me in Iraq. And she said, okay, I'm going to live up to. So as us and leaders in Toastmasters, we have no idea who's watching us.
And we're being watched.
And we are being watched. And so we have no idea who we might be inspiring, who we might be motivating by hearing our story.
And
we have no idea.
We're being groomed and mentored. Sometimes we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like you said, we're doing it for others and we don't realize it.
Right.
So always do the right thing the best that you can. And man up or woman up.
Yes.
Make a mistake. We're all human.
Yeah. And so people will respect you. They'll respect you for that. They will not hold a mistake against you if you own it and then take the actions to correct it.
Take the actions to correct it.
They'll say, yep, yeah, we remember that this mistake happened, but I'll tell you what, I really give her credit or really give him credit because they took this, and this actions to fix it, and we all became better for it then.
We do, and it's okay to fail. Like you said, just own up to it, make it better, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Absolutely.
All right, one last thing. Do you encourage, well, first of all, congratulations, your daughter is also in the Navy.
Yes,
is that awesome?
My
son's in the Air Force. It's pretty exciting.
Yes.
And
I was my daughter's mentor all along the way. And,
I bet
I'm sure with you being a father, you wondered, are they even listening? Do they hear anything I say? When the teenager shuts their door and says, I hate you. And I've had that happen from that particular daughter too. And I'm like, am I going to make any difference in this child's life? And then for her to go and join the Navy and follow in mom's footsteps, I was just like, that tugs at my heartstrings.
That's special. So what advice do you have for someone young, teenager that hates their mom or dad?
Right.
What advice do you have for them starting their journey as young adults?
Be true to who you are. Find what you desire. And if you have opportunities such as Toastmasters Club by you, that will actually help you grow and develop leadership skills, the confidence and communication. My daughters, so I have 3 daughters, two of which are over 18.
Okay.
For their 18th birthday,
they
received a membership for Toastmasters. They did. And I told them, I said, I want you to be able to speak confidently, eloquently, and present yourself in a manner so that when you are looking for a job, you don't sound like an unintelligent teenager or young adult.
Love it.
And the one, she decided to go in the Navy. The other one, she did a very good job at her internship. She's a veterinarian assistant.
Wow.
And because she was able to communicate with her employer and said, I really enjoy working here. And because of some of her leadership skills that she developed through her Toastmasters duration, she was not happy with that birthday gift.
Of course not.
But she ended up also with her talents and skills, but she had leadership and they saw the potential in her. And she's the youngest working there.
Wow.
And they offered her that's the only time they ever offered an intern a job right before their internship was over. And so I give credit to, of course, their talents and skills, their dedication, but also to Toastmasters to give them
the mom.
the mentorship of mom.
Absolutely.
That's right. But also because their confidence in their own abilities that they gained through Toastmasters.
Wow. Thank you very much, Missy.
Yes,
You
thank
give
you.
a lot of great advice. I love hearing your story, and all I have to say is, go Bucks!
Go Bucks! Yes.
This has been Joe Skoda and Missy, and we hope to see you out there while you're building your own confidence and your own legacy. Let us know how you're doing. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.